And there we go to the main event. Just before the main event, Mean Gene Okerlund checks in with Hulk Hogan. And Hogan is talking about he just came out of the dressing room giving Bret Hart, a word of advice about facing Yokozuna. And this should be our first hint as what is coming. But Yokozuna comes out there and has a match where basically Bret Hart can't defeat the big guy, and the big guy just squashes Bret. There is a point in the match when Mr. Fuji jumps up onto the ring and he uses salt to blind the eyes of Bret the Hitman Hart, but he's not able to fight off Yokozuna, and Yokozuna gets the 3 for the win, and he's crowned champion. Hulk Hogan comes running out of the back to check on Bret the Hitman Hart, and once he gets there, Mr. Fuji just openly challenges Hulk Hogan out of the middle of nowhere. Hogan's trying to check on Bret, but Bret, once he gets out of the ring and he's starting to walk towards the back, pushes Hogan and tells him, "Go get him! Go get him, Hulk! Screw my championship run." Hogan jumps into the ring. In a matter of about 22 seconds, Mr. Fuji blinds Yokozuna. Hulk Hogan hits the big boot. And the guy's champion. It doesn't even really feel like we've had a real match. It almost feels like a Money in the Bank cash-in or something like that. I don't know why. Commissioner Tunney never stepped in and basically said that this wasn't a real championship match. There was no contract signed. I don't know how Hogan was able to really become champion off of this, but I guess the word on the street is that Vince thought that Hogan on top would be able to turn around house show businesses. They only ran with this until I believe about June for the King of the Ring, when Hogan would lose to Yokozuna in I believe a match in Cleveland, and it would be Hogan's last match on pay-per-view with the company. He would wrestle with them for a few more months. I believe his last match ended up being like in Spain on a European tour. And then, going to WCW after thinking that his career was all washed up. But why they decided to go with this, I have no clue. When Hogan walked into WrestleMania 9 with that busted up eye, Vince should have looked at him and just said, creative control or not, you're not winning it all tonight. It doesn't make sense. I don't even know if... maybe I would have let him have the tag match, but I would have found some way to cover that up. Put a mask on the guy. Hogan is Hogan, and if you would have been able to tell the story of actually showing Money Inc. jumping Hulk Hogan in some sort of a backstage vignette, it would have made sense, and it would have been able to do it, but it didn't make sense at the payoff, and it sort of put a bad damper on this show that already was bad enough as it is. Hogan stealing the championship from Yokozuna, Hogan pushing Bret Hart out of the way. I know in Bret Hart's book, the story was that Bret and Hogan were supposed to have a match at SummerSlam, and Hogan ended up saying that it wasn't going to happen. I'm not 100% sure about it, but Bret seems to be a guy, even though that says some stupid stuff sometimes, like when he bashed the Owen Hart documentary, when he bashed the Triple H versus Undertaker WrestleMania 28 match. He's a guy that not a lot of people throw things back at him, because I think a lot of times when Bret tells a story, he tells the truth. So I don't know if that's the way to look at it or not. Bret and Bret and Hulk wouldn't work until the days of WCW, when Bret sort of became the lackey of Hulk Hogan. And I don't even know if they ever really had a singles match in WCW that I can remember. But WrestleMania 9 wasn't really a good one, and I honestly recommend that you don't go out of your way to watch it. Just watch that True Story of WrestleMania and get a lot of the backstage stuff, and you'll love it.